Senior Report thanks Edmund Besch of Bristol Burgess Insurance Agency, 65 East Main Street, Westfield, for his generous grant to provide news to seniors. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding for Senior Report is provided in part by a grant from Andrew Goodell, Assemblyman for the 150th District of the New York State Assembly. Senior Report with Reed Powers thanks Westfield's Schultz Chevy for a generous grant to inform seniors of important news. Over 50 years of service to Westfield by Chevrolet, Schultz Chevy across from the school. The physicians of Jamestown Primary Care are happy to sponsor the Senior Report. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Senior Report is broadcast live throughout northern Chautauqua County on Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. each week. Call in and share a thought, make a comment, ask a question, or simply wish someone a happy birthday on Chautauqua County's only live call-in senior program. Since 1995, Reed has been bringing viewers hundreds of interesting guests, informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
Hello, good morning. What a beautiful day we have here in Chautauqua County. It's 50 degrees out and there's no snow, a little bit of rain, but that melts off the rest of the snow, so everything's okay. You can get to the wood now for your wood burner, and the world is sweet and good. I'm sure that the lilacs are beginning to bud up nicely, and before long the daffodils and crocuses will be pushing up. Who knows? But life goes on here, January the 11th in Chautauqua County. Incidentally, I did want to mention today, January 11th, there's a big rally over at the hospital in, where is it, that hospital?
In Irving.
Irving.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to mention the fact that Kathy Young will be there, and it's going to be at the Dickinson High School in Silver Creek. This is for the, to save the Lakeshore Hospital. They're going to have a huge rally trying to save some of it anyway. And that's today from 12:30 to 2:30. Go to the Silver Creek High School auditorium. And we've got Andy Godell coming, and we've got a number of other major dignitaries. We have Kathy Young will be there, and it looks like it's going to be a big grand slam of a rally. Hopefully we can keep some of the hospital going. It takes bodies, so get over there. That's today, the 11th of January, Silver Creek High School, 12:30. All right, now, I did want to say a lot of interesting things are happening on television, and I'm going to tell you a little more about that later on, because today we're going to start the program right off the bat with our guest, who's a regular here. You've met her many a time, Lori Cornell. And she is a legislator at this point, right?
Yes.
And she couldn't run for the legislature at the time. She was too busy running for the county clerk's position, but she was up against a real tiger, and it was a formidable campaign, and came very close to taking it, too, I might add. But there's always tomorrow, mañana. Are you going to run for the legislature?
True. Well, my esteemed colleague Fred Larson now has my seat in the legislature, and it is so good to be here. Such an honor that you would ask me to come again, Reed. And Of course, in New York State, we have the good law where you can't run for two offices at the same time. So this time around, I had chosen to run for Chautauqua County Clerk instead of Legislature, and
what a clerk
unfortunately
you made.
came up a little bit shy.
Right. Well, you'd had whoever's the clerk now. I guess it's
Larry Barmore,
and he's going to have big shoes to fill, even though she was a little petite lady.
Certainly, sure. Our longtime
Sandy Kovac, what a job she did over the years.
Right, 20 years, our longtime county clerk.
Yeah, and everybody loved her.
Yeah, I admire her greatly. Well, and as a woman, I think she's one of the longest serving women in Chautauqua County.
I'll bet, yeah, right.
And if not the whole state, not a lot of women elected officials that serve.
Well, if you get reelected, go for it again. You'll be one of the longest too before you know it.
Well, thank you, Reed. I really appreciate that.
Okay, Lori Cornell has been on our legislature for a number of years. She was a minority leader. She had to take a brief vacation to run for the county clerk's office. From
Never heard it called a vacation. I like that, Reed.
And she ran hard and furious, fast and furious, and it was a tough campaign. And the day will come when your ship will come in again, Lori. I know that for a fact.
Well, thank you. And I should give confidence to the elected county clerk, the new county clerk. Larry Barmer will do a fine job.
You think so? Okay, good. And he's probably there for another 20 years because nobody ever gets fired or nobody ever quits. They just stay there.
Democracy is an important thing, and get to the polls, voters. We should note lowest voter turnout in history this time around.
That so?
Isn't that sad? I know.
Yeah. Well, that's what knocked our old friend Fred out. He had a tough fight, we'll put it that way, and because nobody came out to vote. But his opponent had several people running with him, and their followers came out to vote.
Right.
So it was goodbye, Fred.
Sure. No, I mean, I have worked well with both Mr. Himmeline and Mr. Crosscut, but I certainly, I told Mr. Crosscut I know how he feels firsthand, and it's one thing to lose an election based on the voters' choice,
right.
Exactly, but it's another when your supporters just don't happen to get out that day. That makes makes the hit a little bit harder to take.
Right. Rather than voting for someone, they basically just didn't vote, and that was the hell of it, you know. And, well, it does happen, but in this country, we have generally a low voter turnout on average. As you say, it was the lowest in the world.
Or lowest in Chautauqua County's recent history this time around,
Well, Chautauqua County has diminished in size in terms of the legislators now. We've gone from, what, 26, was it, or 25?
We had 25 down to 19.
Down to 19. And you're one of the people that moved along, and Fred Crosscut. I always call him Fred. He's one of my regulars, you know, even though
your viewers, you say Fred, and your viewers know exactly who you're talking about. That's a well-deserved credit to Mr. Crosscut.
Yeah, he is. He's very very knowledgeable about sort of arcane things, such as raising cattle.
Sure. Well, that's like my old boss. You know, I was the Assemblyman Parliament's district director for 5 years, and you talk about a wealth of knowledge. You know. Yeah.
Well, I think maybe you will have another opportunity. We'll put it that way.
Thanks, Rita.
And Fred, I'm sure Fred will. He's going to get after his gang and say, "You guys get out and vote this time."
Yeah.
Well, lots of things happening in the world. I started to mention the news that you see, which is the Congress is basically moribund, and we have a big problem here in Chautauqua County because we have so many people on unemployment, and they did extend the unemployment, but that's been cut out now, and there is no unemployment after 26 weeks. That's it, you're gone. And what do you do now? Just go out and starve to death, or you lose your home and you're on the streets, and it's awful cold.
Right. Well, you make a good point, and you know, as a legislator and in other capacities that I worked in Chautauqua County, and I think for most elected leaders in this county and people involved in the community want to see a stronger economic development effort. I mean, we need more jobs. Like you said, you know, we have too many unemployed, and so. I have high hopes for our stronger future, and I think that the more we can sustain and create new jobs in Chautauqua County, the more positive the situation's going to be for us in the long run.
Yeah, well, Chautauqua County does have certain terrific advantages over many areas. That is the tourism. We have the most gorgeous area because we have these fields.
Sure.
We have the woods, we have the hunting, the fishing, the lakes all over the place, and just tremendous fishing. And it's just it's a lure to bring people in, especially around Chautauqua Lake.
Absolutely.
It brings in a lot of money.
Right, right. Well, and tourism is our #2 industry, of course, and
we're not going to get a GM plant here, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, we were one of the manufacturing kings of New York State, and now it's time to look to diversify a little bit more and definitely capitalize on our natural assets like Chautauqua Lake, like Lake Erie. We have 5 beautiful lakes in this county.
Well, Chautauqua Lake has tremendous, advantages because, like in Westfield, there's a huge harbor development there. Boat slips to bring boats in and tie them up at the piers, and they have ways to get the boats in. They have 2 or 3 different slides there now, and it's just tremendous. Thanks to Congressman Reed, not the current Congressman Reed, the Congressman Reed of decades ago, Daniel Reed.
Oh,
we've had 2 congressmen.
Teach me, I don't know this history lesson.
Oh yeah, well I've personally known 2 Congressman Reeds.
Really?
And
well, of course, our current.
I met him back when. And, well, we got a phone call. Want to take a call?
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
I was wondering if there was any. There was this chemical spill down in South Carolina or something. Do we have any worries about that around here?
I don't think it's going to get this far.
No, not from that one, but I'm talking from
I hear you.
other
he's using
things
your
and spilling into Chautauqua Lake, because obviously it's the lifeblood of our county.
Right. Is there anything around there that would threaten it besides cows?
Well, and actually manure is always an issue when you talk about sediment in the lake. I think it's contributes to ag runoff. I think contributes to 1/3 of the Chautauqua Lake nutrient issues. But I am not familiar with this problem. I don't think that we have the type of risk that they're experiencing currently down south.
Up in Westfield,
I'm not completely knowledgeable.
Some huge tanks, great big tanks at Welch's, and if all that grape juice spilled into the lake, it'd be all the better.
Caller, I think Reed's getting a little silly here.
Okay, no, caller, I don't know of any imminent danger. I'm sure, however, there are poisonous things stored around Lake Chautauqua, and I just don't know where they are or which they are, and they certainly don't advertise it.
Well, that's a really good question. You might make a phone call over to one of our state representatives' offices, and they could connect you with the DEC, perhaps.
Might check that out with DEC, caller. Thanks for the thought. That spill.
Good question.
That spill is really maddening. People can't even shower. They can't drink. They can't cook. They have nothing. They can flush. That's all.
Right. Yeah, it makes you realize how valuable and how much we take for granted water resources. Right?
Especially when you have 300,000 people who are in this plight who have no water.
I can't imagine.
They're bringing truckloads of water and bottled water, and they say it disappears the first second it unloads. That's
so
it.
Sad.
The 300,000 people need that water.
Right.
How far is it going to go?
Absolutely.
Oh well, things like that do happen, and let's just hope that they take care of it. This tank should not have ruptured under any circumstances. It did. However, there was a backup, and they had a trench around it to stop. If it did leak, it would collect the stuff. It broke. I mean, let me ask you, who's watching the shop over there? I think DEC last night announced they're closing them down. They don't want them doing any more business.
Yeah.
Get that stuff out of here. But at any rate, the water is still polluted. They say the pollution is dropping, and they may be able to drink the water in another couple of years. No, it looks like a week or two.
Sure,
whatever.
Yeah,
Let's be realistic.
Crazy situation.
It is. Well, Now, you've been here, you lived here how many years now in Chautauqua County?
I was born and raised in Chautauqua County, so all my life.
So I was just trying to find your age out.
Yeah. Oh, I'm 37.
37 years you've been here.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So, and, you know, I had stints here and there away. I went away to college for 4 years.
Where'd you go?
I went to Notre Dame.
Oh, that's
in
a
Indiana.
good school. Did you play
And
football?
so-
Or?
I tell my kids, you know, I really did. And I should mention I have one of my children out in the control room today.
Zach is there.
Zachary, my
Zachary, yeah.
5-year-old's running the show today, steering the ship out there. But no, I tell my boys, because, you know, I have 4 boys, so they get very proud to, when I say that I did play football for Notre Dame. I played on the Women's Intramural League.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of downplay that women's intramural part of it and just say that I played for Notre
What
Dame,
did you
but,
play in intramurals?
I was a linebacker on the
Really?
the women's
Okay,
intramural.
and
Yeah.
That sounds like quite a bunch. I didn't know they had a women's football
I'm really
team.
not that athletic. It's not super impressive. But
Okay, there you go. Notre Dame has a women's football
Yeah.
league team.
intramural.
That's unusual, I must say. Usually it's hockey or ice hockey. Oh, well, not
Well,
ice
but
hockey,
you
field
know,
hockey.
Notre Dame football school
Yeah,
of
it's all football. It's all
yeah.
football.
So 4 years there, and then I worked in Albany for a stint, and then lived 3 years and worked on Capitol Hill in Washington. So.
What you do in Washington? You were involved with the politics there, weren't you?
Yeah, I worked on Capitol Hill for 2 different members of Congress. I was a policy analyst, worked on the legislative team.
Who were the members of Congress?
So I worked for Carolyn McCarthy from Long Island, who's still a congresswoman, and a gentleman named Bart Stupak, a former congressman from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Okay, so you've been around. You like Chautauqua County.
So I love this is my heart and this is my home, and
Yeah.
born and raised, and hopefully a lifetime, and you know my kids will be raised here
Me
as
too.
well.
I was born and raised here. However, I did have to leave temporarily for 25 years.
I didn't know that. Really?
I needed a job, and unfortunately, in Westfield, where I was born and raised, the job, you got a job when your father died. 'Cause
Yeah.
the jobs are almost inherited.
Right.
And my father died long before. I was 8 years old when he passed away.
Wow.
So I was kind of stuck for a job. So I wound up going down to Long Island, and they scooped me up down there, and I was down there for, 28 years almost. And I raised my 3 kids, and then I moved back home, and my 3 kids followed me back home. We had 3 kids in the house who are now adults, of course, and it's tough to discipline them when you have to look up. So you stop that, you know, and you're lucky if you get a 4-letter word
I
out
can
of them anyway,
imagine.
you know?
I'll be there soon with my boys.
But at any rate,
Yeah.
they...
Well, I guess there's only so many jobs for television stars in Chautauqua
Oh,
County, right?
I wasn't even thinking about television at that time. I was teaching, and they really had a shortage of teachers down in Long Island who knew English and science, both of which I was pretty good at,
Right.
if I do say so, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I was quickly snapped up, and I had a wonderful 28 years down there, but then it was time to retire and come up here.
Aw.
And then all my 3 children followed me, and they stayed in the house for a little while, and then we made arrangements for them to move on. We bought them another house nearby, and they lived there for a while. Then it burned to the ground. So each one came back to Westfield, and they all live in Westfield now in their own homes.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's nice to be close to
It
family.
is.
and-
You know, that's the greatest thing a senior can have besides good health, of course.
Right.
It's just children within shouting range. And I see my
Yeah.
grandchildren every day, and if I want to, and my 3 kids are all around me. So it's within 2 blocks, all of them. So
Well, it's the greatest thing for a young mother to have the grandparents around, too.
Right,
It's,
right.
I think it would be difficult to raise kids without that family support.
Oh, this family is probably everything. I think, especially in a county like Chautauqua County. It's a close county. You know, I'm related. My great grandfather was a founder over in Panama, New
That's
York,
right, yeah.
and he had 12 children, and his son had 12 children, and the grandson had 12 children, and my grandfather was of 12 children, all over in Panama.
Wow.
The school is on my great-grandfather's property that he had. He had a
Really?
horse farm over there. And he had a grandson who liked to ride horses, who was kind of small, and that
Yeah.
was Vinnie Powers, top world jockey.
Wow.
3 years in a row, 17 years of age.
Oh my
How
gosh,
about
well that's
that?
a history to be proud of.
Vincent
huh?
Powers is on every
Yeah.
Irish bar. They always list the horse winners of the Kentucky Derby. He won everything. He won
Yeah.
the Kentucky Derby. He won everything. You know,
Wow.
that's great. And you can always tell who founded the community because you go to the cemetery and the first thing they got to do is bury someone. They say, "Well, where's the cemetery?" And they say, "Well, that yonder in 40, that'll be it." And they put up usually just a iron arch. Then the scramble was on to get a good site. You didn't want to be in the back, so
No.
the top family snapped up the sites on the front on the right, and the next family on the left. I'm proud to say there's dozens of Powerses who are planted over there on the right side, just inside the
Nice.
gate. If you ever go to
Nice.
Panama, go over and just walk in and take a quick right, and you'll see Powerses all over
All
the place.
right. I don't doubt the Powers would be getting the good spots,
Yeah.
as they should, right?
Well, they don't want to be in the back.
No,
You know, who wants to be in the back of the
no.
cemetery? You got to go back and hunt them up.
Especially
and
if you're a Powers. You know? Come on.
Well, as I say, we've been here for ages, and so many. It's an expansionary family, an old Irish family. You got to have at least a dozen kids, you know. I told my wife, "Well, I'm thinking of a dozen." She said, "No way." I said, "Well, how about half a dozen?" She said, "How about two?" Well, we had a pair and a spare.
There you go.
We got three.
Here in a spare.
Okay, so at any rate, Chautauqua is just a delightful little county here. And as the French came through, they said it's just gorgeous. It's the Garden of Eden here in Chautauqua County. Deer hunting is great. Now everybody's hunting. They have a spring turkey season, I think. I think they're out there picking up some gobblers. And they have the fishing season, which is still on. Usually you go out ice fishing, but I have a feeling ice fishing is kind of kaput at this point.
Yeah, who knows? Our weather's been so up and down. You know, I bundled up wearing long johns last week, and today I come out here in just a jacket.
Yeah, it's 50 out.
right.
And I think every plumber in the county is sleepless still.
You know, I followed H. Jack Plumbing up here from
Oh, yeah.
Jamestown this morning. Yep.
Yeah, well, there's so many pipe freezings.
Oh, yeah.
And my friends, let me give you a little tip, which most people know, but some of you might not know. You want to stop your pipes from freezing. Of course, heat your cellar somehow. If necessary, well, I won't advise that because somebody will die if they do it. But there are ways to increase the heat in your cellar if you have a hot water tank, we'll put it that way. And if it's electric, you're okay, you know. Let that son of a gun blow away and heat your cellar a little. But the simplest thing to do is let your faucet run a little bit.
Really?
Turn it on and let it just trickle. All it has to do is trickle. That'll be running water through the pipe,
Yeah.
and it cannot freeze. It will
Warm,
not
hot,
freeze.
cold, doesn't matter?
Both
what-
waters.
Really?
Both hot and cold. Turn them on and let them trickle.
Yeah.
And all of your faucets, you have the cellar, the kitchen, if you have a cellar faucet, but
Right.
the bathroom, of course, the tub and
Sure,
the
sure.
sink, and your toilet usually runs a little. So it'll take care of itself. Mine does anyway.
Yeah.
It always runs a little bit.
Yeah.
Every
Something
once in a
always
while
wrong
it
with
flushes
those.
itself. Much to the surprise of the cats, that's their well. They go there to drink. You
Yeah.
know. Suddenly it'll flush.
Nice.
They jump up off the seat.
Well, that's a good tip for viewers, though, on the pipe freezing.
Yeah. Let all,
Right,
when
yeah.
it's really cold, let all your pipes drain a little bit. Turn the water on, the faucet. Both hot and cold. Incidentally, for some reason, the hot freezes faster than the cold. Nobody's been able to explain this. Somebody said, well, it's because it has less lime in it or less various calcides and things.
Really? I
But turn them on. Just let them dribble. You don't have to turn them on much. Just a
Right.
little trickle. And you will probably not get a pipe freeze because of that.
Yeah. Great tip. Very, very timely and important tip.
Yeah, so remember that, folks. If it gets this cold again, well, it was 35
Keep the
below
pipes, right.
in terms of wind chill.
Yeah, it was amazing. And, you know, and I don't know, people have different views on whether or not a climate change actually exists in the whole global warming issue, but they say, it's fascinating to me because they say it's the climate is supposedly not just warming, but we get these erratic ups and downs. And, if there was ever a case in point of erratic up and downs, it's been these last 2 weeks where, like you say, like below 35 wind chill to today, it's close to 50, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go outside in your
Incredible.
shirt tails. It's just nice. It's raining though. You've got to stay out
Yeah,
of the rain. Bring your umbrella, folks.
Oh, I can't. I know. I walked into the studio like a drowned rat today. Who has an umbrella out in January?
I have an umbrella.
Oh, you're so much better prepared than I am.
I carry 2 umbrellas in my car.
In the winter?
All
Look
year,
at you.
year around. Yes,
Oh.
you bet.
Uh-oh.
And I get them at garage sales, and they'll have a broken tine or something on them. This is a good tip for you guys. So you buy it and you take it home and you open it up and take the broken tine, just put a little wire on it and wear it together again.
All right,
And,
like a bread twist tie or something?
Yeah, any little thing, and it'll hold it, and you've got a new umbrella. But unfortunately, you never get the case. So what you've got to do is take an old sock.
Nice.
One with a hole in the toe or heel, and just take that sock and use it as a case.
Nice. All right, Zachary in the studio next summer then, because we can't go to the garage sales right now, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we can
Well,
hit the
there aren't too
Salvation
many
Army
around
or
right now.
something and get some umbrellas.
Yeah, you've seen
Yeah.
umbrella.
So we're gonna get our bread twist ties out, fix up our umbrellas, and
Yeah.
stick them in a sock.
Yeah,
One
and-
of Daddy's socks, probably a nice long.
There you got a $3-4 umbrella for free.
Yeah.
And I usually have, I can't resist one at a garage sale, or people throw them in the trash often.
Right.
If it blows outside, inside out,
Yeah.
and it'll snap one of the little thin
Yeah,
spines.
I know exactly what you
You
mean.
can fix it easily. And just take it out of the trash. And at this point, I've got 7 umbrellas in my dining room, and all my kids have a couple of them.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, they're easy to hang from a hook,
Yeah,
from a coat
yeah.
hook. So I've got a bunch of them.
I think this is in Seniors Report. Like, this is the new, I like this idea, Reed. I mean, you're getting into this whole new
Trickling
realm
wa-
for your
trickling
viewers.
water
Like,
and
this
umbrellas,
is
yeah.
how to with Reed Powers.
How to cope with this weather, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's raining like dramatically outside, but at this
It
point,
really is.
It's better rain than snow. If that were snow, my gosh.
Remember when I couldn't get up the hill?
I remember that. What happened to me?
Last winter or the winter before? Yeah, well, for the viewers, probably many of you know you're located up in the old school in Mayville.
Right,
and
way
you
up
have
the
to-
hill on Academy. And
Right. So you have to cruise up that hill, and on a snowy day, I mean, God bless our good plowers out there, do a fine job, but there's nothing you can do with cope with that hill.
That hill is hell.
It's a huge incline, and yep. So
Well, I went up it 3 or 4 times. My son was with me. He was doing a cooking show, and he said, "Dad, let me take it." So he took it, and he ground that thing, and the tires spun, and he went side to side. But he did get up the hill eventually, creeping up an inch at a time with the tires going like crazy.
that show, I had to hike up the hill in my heels, in my suit, and I made it.
Yeah, and then we gave you a ride down, though. I want
Right.
that. I want to record that.
Oh, absolutely. You always take care of me.
Well, we're having a discussion with Lori Cornell talking about Chautauqua County and the good things and the bad things. I guess they're mostly all good things, though. And the ice fishing is a bad thing, though. Don't go ice fishing.
Oh, no, yeah.
It's treacherous.
It's courageous.
Well, you know, the
that's for sure.
heck of it is every year we seem to lose somebody sliding across there on their sled, you know. I mean, the motorized.
Right, with the snowmobilers.
Snowmobiles, yeah.
Yeah. You hear about that more than ice fishing. I can't remember an ice fisher that's gone down in recent history, but snowmobilers.
Well, since we're giving people good tips, if you ever go out on the ice for any reason, on your snowmobile or ice fishing or just wandering around, you could go through. Mm-hmm. And what people do, the smart people, is they take a piece of wood, a dowel about this long and about that thick, and they put a nail into it and grind the nail down so that there's a point in it about this long sticking out of the dowel. Then they tie the dowel together to another dowel and they put it around their neck.
Yeah.
If they go through the ice, they grab this thing and they clunk it into the ice and clunk it into the ice, and they can pull themselves out.
right,
See, the
right.
big problem is you can't pull yourself out.
Yep.
And also, another thing to do is carry a whistle. And while you're doing all this stuff, blow frantically on your whistle.
Yeah.
And it'll direct people your way, and they'll be able to give you a hand.
Right.
Got that? Whistle, 2 dowels with spikes on them, nails, to haul yourself out. And don't ever go out on that ice without the dowels anyway, and the whistle. I think the whistle's a very good thing too. You've got to get people's attention.
I'm going to stick with the faucet tips. I think I'll do the inside tip for today.
You like the faucet tip? Leave your faucets running when it's really, really cold, guys. Just don't run them full blast, but trickle.
I'll be in
Just a
charge of
little
the
trickle.
faucets. Somebody else can go out there on the ice with the dowels.
Well, you know, the ice fishing is terrific around here.
Sure, yeah.
You'll
Well,
see.
fishing in general, I mean.
Well, out on Mayville, at the foot of the hill, if you look out during the general winter, usual winter, average winter, there's always a whole bunch of little houses out there, and they're all ice fishers.
Yeah.
And is it ice fishers, ice fisher people, ice fisher ladies, ice fishermen, fishermen. They're out there, and they have a little heater in it to keep them warm.
Yeah.
And they cut their hole and they fish away. And sometimes they have various refreshments.
We have no idea what you're talking about, Reed.
And it's a gale occasion. And once in a while they catch a fish.
Yep.
They catch a lot of perch, I might
Oh,
add.
amidst the fun, a fish might come up there.
Yeah, and they catch a perch. And
You know, speaking of ice and tourism and great things in Chautauqua County, how do you think our ice castle is going to fare this year?
I haven't
It
heard
just
a word
occurred to
about
me,
it. Have
speaking
you?
of ice on the lake. I haven't, but it's going to be that time where they need to start chopping and building. I wonder, between the cold and the warming, how the lake is faring with ice.
Yeah, well, they need big blocks of ice to put it up. But
Maybe there's a caller that knows about that.
well, Linda Spalding once called in with a suggestion, and it's the greatest one I've ever heard. She said we should get some lucite blocks and just store them in a garage or barn or something. And come the ice castle time, you just slap them up. If it's cold enough, it should be. And put a little water between them. That'll hold them in like mortar. And then spray them with water on the outside, and it'll look just like the ice castle.
Really?
But it goes up in a fraction of the time. There's nobody having to get out there in the water and bring in ice. And, it's just, and you light
It's
it up.
not weather dependent, too.
Yeah, and exactly, and it's good for year after year after year. It's good forever, really.
Huh. That is a good idea.
Yeah, and
I love the Spaldings. They're just, they're good idea people.
yeah. Well, Linda's terrific. She's kind of sad now that Doug passed on. But she's got her 2 dogs again, and she's training them to play the piano.
Really?
Yeah, they had a pair of dogs that would jump up and play the piano. One of them would. I don't know. Squirty, I think, would play the piano. She's probably watching right now. If you're watching, Linda, give us a
Linda.
call. Give us a call and tell us how the dogs are doing. She lives right on the lake almost. And, Okay, we're talking about wonderful things in Chautauqua County with Lori Cornell. Lori Cornell is a long-term legislator who is taking a vacation right now, and we'll be right back, I'm sure, eventually.
Thank you.
And we have a caller, incidentally, trying to get in, I see. Yeah, okay, morning, caller.
Good morning. I have a question for your guest, although I don't know if she still has input on this or not, but what is the situation with the Chautauqua County home at this point?
Sure. Well, and you're correct. I'm not currently in the legislature and not currently a decision maker on the issue, but as you know, we've had several votes when I was still a legislator on whether or not to sell the county home to 2 different buyers. We had voted on Avi Rothner of Chicago, who I opposed, and then the most recent proposed buyer, a gentleman named, I always butcher his name, it's a very difficult name, but Ed Farlenblum or something to that effect.
Yeah, it's Fascia Whistleboom.
It's something, complicated last name, but nevertheless, the legislature had voted down his purchase of the home in October. Now, I understand that he is potentially still interested in purchasing the home, and so although I'm not involved, like I said, I would foresee possibly another vote coming forward in the near future with him as the buyer.
What is the downside to us as a county keeping ownership of the Chautauqua County home?
Well, I'm sure you've followed the arguments closely, like, and it seems most other residents too, and, the arguments in favor of selling are that, the county would no longer have to be responsible for the entity. The county home would no longer be a county asset. The county wouldn't be financially responsible for it, have responsibility for employees there, and such, and, like any privatization effort, it would alleviate, if you will, that's the argument, the county of that.
And one of the things that's very negative about it, caller, is the fact that it sends one more message to the seniors. We're throwing you under the bus, everybody, for everything. And incidentally, this county home we've had a county home or a county property, even they used to call the poorhouse over in DeWittville, and they raised their own crops over there for over a century, and suddenly to just say, the hell with the seniors, we'll sell it out from under them. Even though it cost a few bucks, they could open the gas well, I might add, which would help, and they could work out some kind of an associate affiliate deal where they could have assisted living, which is a secret now.
Well, I will tell you that I'm going to age myself a little bit here, but when I was approximately 7 years old, I was a brownie.
Yeah.
And this was approximately long time ago, long time ago. And we went to DeWittville, and it was one of the experiences that really stuck with me throughout my life. I was only about 7 at the time. And the people there were so wanting to touch children and just so wanting human contact. And even at 7, I realized this. And it made a big difference in how I feel about things. But I always felt that the Chautauqua County home was an asset rather than a detriment to our county.
Well, the reason they called it the poorhouse is these people were the indigent seniors who had no income, no way to, well, sometimes they had a small amount of Social Security, which has been basically shrunk by inflation because the Congress won't pay us the real cost of living increase. And at this point, they're getting half their money right now that they used to get in terms of purchasing power. That basket you could fill now is only half full with your Social Security.
Right.
But at any rate, these people were the poorest, and most of them were very elderly, and most of them were ill. Many of them had illnesses.
Right.
That's what
I had a family member that ended up at the Chautauqua County home when he was very, very, very old.
Well, they're frail.
And he had a stroke, and he got pneumonia, but they cured that, of course. And he ended up in the county home for about a year before he finally passed away.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
and I think if you don't mind,
No,
Reed,
no,
I think the caller hits this whole issue on the head with the fact that I always said whether one supported or opposed the sale of the county home, that all of us, county leaders and county residents, county taxpayers alike, needed to keep the seniors at the heart of the question, and the residents in the county home, some of the most vulnerable residents in our entire community, their best interests needed to be kept at heart.
Well,
I think that was somewhat lost in some of the discussions.
Well, one of the important elements that we have lost, and it never seems to be brought up, is that the Medicaid covers long-term care. And the people at the county home right now, 80% of them are on Medicaid. When you go private, they don't take Medicaid up to the very small fraction of the people there are Medicaid. They really don't have, the Medicaid pays a lot less. That's one of the problems. And so it's much harder to get into a home, usually, if it's under private care. Now, these seniors over there are in great need, and it doesn't really cost that much when you figure the time and the amount of taxes they paid over the years. And some of them paid taxes 70 years in this county. They built the county. The least we can do, since they are sick, they're indigent, they have no money to speak of, and their Social Security goes towards the cost, I might add.
And I never had a problem with people that did believe that we shouldn't be that the county shouldn't be in the nursing home business, but I did take issue with, like you said, the hoopla that the issue was overblown to the extent that it cost the taxpayer. Like Reed is saying, The county, the cost of the county home to county taxpayers has never exceeded $1.4 million. And sure, $1.4 million is a significant amount of money, but in the grand scheme of the county budget, I think the fact was way overblown. The county home is actually only less than 0.5% of the entire county budget. Still an expense. Yes, should the county still look at every last penny that it expends on behalf of taxpayers very carefully? Of course. But let that fact not be lost. I mean, we're not spending 50% of the budget on the county home by any stretch. And I need to stop saying the county leaders are not spending. I'm not them anymore. I'm not them.
Them folks.
As Reed mentioned, a lot of those people there couldn't get into a private care because they wouldn't be able to afford it. And these people most of them have lived in the county their lives, and they've paid taxes. They've been involved in things that are good for our communities and so forth. And you know what? Sometimes a little bit is due payback.
Thank you, caller.
That's the great debate.
Well put. A little bit
Very
of
well put.
payback for their lifetime of giving in this county.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well,
thank
you have
you.
a happy new year and a great time over there. And
You too.
Stay out of the rain.
Bye-bye.
So, Lori, that's one of the issues, and they apparently there are a number of people that who have left the legislature who are in favor of keeping it, and a number of people who have replaced them are in favor of dumping it. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty tight race, although I hope every senior keeps tabs and has a little checklist. And when their legislator goes down and votes against it, if they should do, which they may do, which, remember that election time is all I can say.
Sure.
Remember, seniors always vote. They're the heaviest voters across the board. Are senior citizens.
Right.
And they get out and they vote, and by golly, if you're going to throw them under the bus, stand back.
Absolutely. Well, then that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show with voter turnout. If we could only get the current generation and even the middle generations of people 30s, 40s, 50s to vote as well as our seniors currently vote.
Yeah. Well, yesterday
we'd be in much better shape.
It's like the Congress, the same thing. Politicians are rich now. The Congress is almost every single one is a multimillionaire in our Congress. No wonder they're voting against the average guy for breaks for the millionaires. That's the game now. They've taken over the Congress. And,
those riches haven't fallen my way.
Well, let me say this.
That's what you're saying, right?
Well, I'm saying what now?
Well, no, I was just chuckling to myself because you said that the politicians are getting richer, but not those little local politician, former county legislator types for sure.
You're truly right.
Right.
Well, let's hope that our county is run a little bit more, less recklessly, we'll put it that way. I think our Congress has gone haywire. And it's just not serving the people. It's serving the rich and the powerful.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, you hate to see issues with ethics and other at any level of government, right?
Some of the things they're doing is just cutting Medicaid, Medicare, this is senior stuff, you know, and cutting back on our they're murdering the seniors is all I can say. And the seniors should remember that. And Congressman Reed, boy, Robertson is after him.
Martha Robertson's doing a great job. She is hot. She's out there, and she's on fire. Really working, hoping to work on behalf of the community.
Yeah. Well, before you go, we have one last phone call for you. Okay.
Sure.
Good morning. You're on, caller.
Good morning. I'm wondering if you'd like to discuss Donald Trump's latest venture.
Which one?
Running for governor.
Okay, he's trying to build a golf course too, which is raising holy hell over in Scotland.
He's got a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, what do you think? You think he should make a great president?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think that kind of falls along the lines of what Reed's talking about, where the big money. Big money in politics isn't necessarily a good thing, I think. I ever got involved in government because I believe in public service. I think you need to keep that service at the heart of public service and of work in government. And not sure if that's where Donald Trump's heart is or not, but.
No, I don't know.
But it's democracy. Anyone can run for office in the United States. So
Well,
have at it, I guess.
He has that funny hair too,
It is a little, yeah.
We can hear everybody in the back room, incidentally. It's okay, but there we go. It's quieted down. And we got who's this handsome young man here who's walking
We have
over
a
you?
handsome visitor.
Who's this guy?
This is Zachary.
Hi, Zach. See, we have people of all ages in the studio audience here. Well, now, Laura, you do have another appointment coming up, so you just stand up and say, I'm done when you're finished, okay?
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me on again today, Reed. And Zach, do you want to say something?
It's a Happy New Year.
These are all the people of Chautauqua County that are watching.
There you
Very
go.
good. Good job.
Well, thanks, Lori, for joining us. And
Thank you
I
so
know
much,
you're in a
Reed.
big rush. You have another thing coming, and will you come back again soon?
I absolutely will.
Even though
It
you're
would
long
be an
gone
honor.
from the legislature, we haven't forgotten you. You're still alive and well.
Well, thank you so much, and I hope to continue working on behalf of the
Sure,
community. I love
sure we
Chautauqua County. So
Okay,
thank you,
thanks
Reed.
again, Laurie. I hope that you have a great day.
Thank you.
Where are you going now from here?
Well, we're in the sports circuit now, and like I
Oh.
say, I have 4 boys, and so the boys are all busy with basketball going on today. So we have
No making funny, no clowning around. You're on camera now.
Right,
The whole world
you
is
have to look
watching you.
right at the camera there. The
The
red
whole
light.
world is watching you. This goes on YouTube, and anybody in the world can check in on you.
Absolutely.
So you've got to look handsome and look intelligent anyway. Try to.
Zachary doesn't need to try. He is the smartest
Is he?
kindergartner at CC
Oh, really?
Ring Elementary, right, Zach?
Straight A's, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Well, thank you so much, Reed.
Okay, well, Lori, and you be on your way.
All right.
I want you to make sure you can get over there in time
Thank you so much.
for the was it ball game or?
Yeah, 2 basketball games on tap. So thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for joining us with Lori Cornell for a short while, and we just had a wonderful little chat about Chautauqua County, and we got Zach here. He just doesn't want to get off. Lori, thank you for leaving your microphone. Here, I'll take it. There we go. We have a lot of senior stuff going on here in this beautiful area, I might add, and I hope that you guys are planning to go over at 12:30 to the Silver Creek High School and support that, well, just support the hospital. It's going to get shot down. If not, if they manage to get rid of it. Did you guys see, Chris, the new Pomfret direct guy, Pomfret Town Council member, he just was taken on the his name was Christopher. Let me get this right. Christopher Schaefer, and he took his oath of office Thursday afternoon, last Thursday, and he had a strainer, a colander on his head. He said he wore it because it was the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster that he belonged to, and it's just a statement about religious freedom. Oh, well, he says it's a religion without any dogma. Now, that's not possible. I know it for a fact. At any rate, have a good time over there in the Pomfret Town Council, Mr. Schaefer. Maybe you'll be wearing that again. Who knows? I have a little tiny bit of senior news I wanted to bring to your attention. Sharon Kerr had a wonderful holiday dinner, and music was provided by Catherine Damiano, and I want to thank everybody who helps out the senior centers, and I have a couple of notes here about them. Pat Tripp brought a wonderful dinner, served it, and the Great Bell Seniors, which is a very active group over in Fredonia, they meet in the Mason Hall over there. January 12th starting, they're going to have a free yoga class. 10:30 in the morning. Now, you folks that wanted to get into yoga, yoga is ageless. And it's a wonderful exercise for somebody who can't run so much. And it's free, 10:30, over at the Grapeville Senior Activities, which is in the Mason Hall in Fredonia. And they have a gentle stretching class over there too, I might add, where you meet at 10:30 a.m. And it's very popular. A lot of people go. They have some nice quiet music. You stretch. You get some exercise, individualized instruction if you want it. And if you are interested in their comings and goings, January 15th at 10:15, they'll have their monthly potluck luncheon, which will begin at 11:30. And some of the favorite recipes from the luncheon are distributed to everybody if you're interested in it. So that's January 15th, 10:15 a.m. Go over there and meet them. They have a knitting and crocheting club there too. And they make mittens for people who need them and want them. Seniors, they give them out too, I might add. And the people, especially, they have a food pantry who drop around for the food pantry. And the food pantries in every town, village, and area around. I mean, this is one of the most, probably one of the most needy areas in New York State, and they are food pantries, which are pretty well stocked in many cases, but they do need, they're telling me, there's been a big rush and a crush, so they need food. So if you have something in your shelves that you haven't used for a while, not perishables, non-perishables, you know, stuff in cans and things, bring them over to your local food pantry. In Westfield, I know there's one at the Methodist Church, which is on Clinton Street and Main Street, and drop off some food. There are also various restaurants that are open, or they have centers where they have dinners, or luncheons anyway, for people who want to take advantage of it. Most of them are open to anybody. Westfield is, I know. Donate something. The farmers are wonderful around Chautauqua County in this area. They donate huge amounts of fresh produce, which wouldn't go to your food pantry, but can go to your community kitchen, whatever it is. And don't forget them. Knitters make hats, too. Kathy Park is a coordinator of Chautauqua County CASA, and it's a volunteer organization who takes care of children who are neglected or in need in our county. And CASA is a very important function in this county. So if you're interested in helping kids, get in touch with CASA. They need people to volunteer. Exciting day trips coming on over there. And let's see, they have, well, plenty of time. Great Bell seniors do so many things. I just want to say they're having some day trips, and I'll mention them. If you want to sign up for any of these, write down this number, 672-5778. They will usually take anybody along with them. They always have a seat or two left on the bus, and they're wonderful trips, very inexpensive. They're going to go to one for the two tours to New York City in June and to Cape Cod in September up in New England. And travel arrangements are all made by the site, and they're just very inexpensive, and you have a great time. You're with a lot of wonderful, friendly folks. Dunkirk senior citizens, I wanted to mention them. They're having an indoor rummage craft bake sale scheduled for February 15th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's at the Senior Center in Dunkirk. If you want to display or exhibit, tables are available for a very minor fee. They're going to have a 10-cent, 25-cent table. You can buy things for next to nothing. They're going to Niagara Falls Casino Monday, January 20th, if you're interested, the Dunkirk crowd. And again, you can usually go along. They're going to take off at 10 a.m. and the cost is $25, but you get a $20 free play bonus as well as prizes on the bus and goodie bags, which balance out to the same, so it's a free trip, really. If you gamble, if you win, run. If you lose, run. Don't hang around gambling. You'll lose your shirt. It's too cold for that. They're going to have a February 9th gala, Chef's Choice and Dessert tickets coming up. That's today. They'll start selling them over there. I want to tell you that the Stockton, Chautauqua, let me start again. Stockton, Casadega, Lilydale seniors have one big club, and they're having a soup sandwich and a dessert luncheon at noon at the Casadega Legion, and that'll be January the 13th. This is Saturday the 11th, 12th, 13th is Monday, so drop around. Soup, sandwich, and dessert luncheon at noon. Bring your dish to pass. If you have one, not necessarily, but at least bring your table service and your beverage, please. I have mentioned a couple of different items. There's just one last thing I want to repeat for you today. 12:30 to 2:30, Silver Creek High School. They're getting together to try to save and to campaign for the Lakeshore Hospital. We have so little services in this county in hospitals, and it's hard to get to them sometimes. We did save the Westfield Hospital, but in the meantime, Lakeshore is on the boards to disappear. So get over there. What can you lose? Hang around, chat with Kathy Young, chat with Andy Goodell. I have a public service announcement for you, and then we'll be moving right along. This is for you guys, and it'll take a minute to put it up because I popped this on them as a surprise. We don't have John Hamels with us, sadly.
It all comes down to this.
To be a winning team, you have to work like a winning team.
We have a job to do out here today.
Some people think it's about muscle, but it's really about heart. A lot of heart.
My team.
Arizona, right?
And my team is 50,000 strong. Looks like a lot of work's going into this.
Is what it feels like to be part of a team.
A winning team.
The action team.
Get in on the action at actionteam.org. Are you in?
Action team, be a winner. John Hamels, as I started to say, unfortunately we don't have him with us today. He is on the runway, taking off as I am speaking out of the Erie Airport. He's heading to Vegas. And I told him, don't take any money with you. Vegas has one great expertise, and that's to separate people from their money. Okay, guys, it's been a great day. It's been a calm day, a quiet day in Chautauqua County, and it's a warm day. So I want to say to everybody, get out there and taste the rain. It's just nice to stick your tongue out and get a little rain on it, because the next thing you're going to do is get snow on it, and let's hope not for a while. May all that is proud and true and noble abide with you. I want to thank some real special people who helped out here. Chuck Kelsey, Devon Taylor, Chris Burt, Randy Burt, Chris Ramaker, Jeff Zook, Don Zenz, and John Hamels, who is flying off to Vegas. Goodbye, everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. I'll see you next week.